there are criminals, and then there are legends. Some break the law, others break the system, but only one man broke out of a maximum security prison using a hijacked helicopter. This is the terrifying true story of Remy Fayed, the mastermind who orchestrated one of the most daring escapes in history. A man whose charm was as deadly as his crimes. A man who turned real life into a Hollywood thriller. But here's the thing about criminals who think they're in a movie. They always forget how it ends. Build up, the calm before the storm. July 1st, 2018. A scorching summer afternoon south of Paris. Inside Rayo prison, the inmates moved through their routine like clockwork. Among them was one prisoner whose name carried weight like a ghost story whispered between cell bars. Remy Fayed. He wasn't just another convict. He was the convict. A man whose life was a series of high-profile robberies, dramatic shootouts, and a charm so unsettling it could make you forget the gun in his hand. But today wasn't just another day. Today, Fayed was expecting a visitor, a routine meeting, or so the guards thought. But outside the prison walls, something was happening. A flight instructor named Stefan B. had just taken off from a small airfield. The sun glinted off the helicopter's rotors as it climbed higher into the sky. But Stefan wasn't flying alone. Sitting behind him were two men with guns. "Fly to Rayo prison," one of them ordered, pressing cold steel against Stefan's ribs. "Do exactly as we say, or your family dies." The escape, a nightmare in broad daylight. At 11:30 a.m., the prison courtyard was quiet. Inmates milled about, the distant hum of a helicopter barely registering in their minds. Then, a shadow passed overhead. Guards looked up. The sight made their stomachs drop. A helicopter hovering directly above the prison walls. Before anyone could react, two masked men leaped onto the roof, automatic weapons in hand. Within seconds, they breached the visiting area, storming in like ghosts of Fayed's past. And there he was, smiling, as if he'd been expecting them. Gunshots exploded through the air. Smoke filled the hallways. Guards, trained for riots but not this, scrambled for cover. Fayed moved swiftly, like a man rehearsing a scene he'd played 1,000 times in his head. Down the corridors, up the stairs, onto the rooftop. The helicopter's rotors thundered above him. The air churned with heat and chaos. And then he was gone. Just like that, Remy Fayed vanished into the sky. Aftermath. The manhunt begins. For days, France was in shock. The media called it a masterpiece of criminal engineering. The police called it a disaster. Fayed had escaped without firing a single shot. And the worst part? Nobody knew where he was. Roadblocks were set up, airports were locked down, hundreds of officers were mobilized. But Fayed was a ghost, slipping through the cracks like smoke through a prison vent. Weeks passed, then months. The world held its breath. Would he strike again? Would he disappear forever? Then, in 2019, a mistake. A quiet apartment in the suburbs, a late-night raid. And there, in the dim light of a Parisian hideout, Fayed was found, armed, defiant, but cornered. There was no helicopter this time, no masked gunman, no escape, just handcuffs, and a one-way ticket back to prison. Conclusion: the illusion of freedom. Remy Fayed thought he was the main character in a crime thriller, that he could outsmart the system forever. But reality has a way of catching up to even the best escape artists. Today he sits in a concrete cell, 39 years, no windows, no exits, no helicopters, a prisoner to the one thing he could never escape, himself. But tell me, if he had the chance, would he do it all again? Or did he finally realize there's no such thing as a perfect crime?